Hi everyone, and welcome to our video on how to multiply a matrix with a matrix. So right here we have the rule that will be used to make sure we can multiply a matrix. So if we have a matrix A and it has these size or this dimensions, the m by n, and we're multiplying it by matrix B, which has the dimensions or size, that's an n by k, well, we just have to make sure that these are the same number. So always the same. And then if they are not the same number, then we will not be able to multiply. So we just check to make sure they are the same. And then once we see that they're the same, our answer, whatever size it will be or whatever, how much space it will take, will always be the size m by k. All right, so that's something that we always start with in our matrices. So for this first one, notice that we have a 2-row matrix and 3 columns. So this is a 2 by 3. And then this matrix looks like it has 3 rows and then 2 vertical columns, so 3 by 2. So we can see that these two numbers are the same, so that means we can multiply, and then our answer will be the 2 by 2. All right, so we'll have an answer. I'm just going to kind of put it over here and say, oh, we need a 2 by 2. Okay, so we know that. And, well, the way that we're going to break it down, okay, so I don't really have enough space to put it right to the side there, but what I'm going to do is let's give ourselves plenty of room for one big matrix that's going to be our answer. So this is the 2 by 2 matrix. So I'm just setting up blank spots. So I have 2 by 2. And then the unique way that we multiply matrices, so this is how they were defined back when the mathematicians that kind of started using them made these rules. So what we do, I call it pencil in the cup. It's tough to see on the computer, but what I think of is like this second matrix is like a cup, and we're going to take this pencil that would be laying on a desk and putting it into this cup. So what we could also say is, well, this row will multiply this column. So we will be doing each row of the first matrix multiplies, and it will multiplies all columns of the second matrix. So that's what we'll be doing in words. But to abbreviate, I usually say like pencil in the cup. Like this is like a horizontal pencil on a desk. We're picking it up, we're putting it into the cup, and the only way we could really put it down is if we go vertical like that. Okay, and when we do multiply, though, these corresponding elements in this row do multiply the corresponding elements in this column. So we will have a 1 times 10, and it will go in this first spot right here. So 1 times 10. And then we'll have, so it will be addition also in between. So plus the 6 times negative 2. And then negative 2 times positive 1. So plus, so it looks like I didn't give myself enough room. Sorry about this. Let's go ahead and make it so I have more room. So even with how big I wrote it, it wasn't big enough. Okay, so I think this will be good though. So sorry about that. So we've got 1 times 10 plus the second one here, 6 times the second one there, negative 2, and then another plus. The negative 2 will multiply that positive 1 like that. Okay, and then eventually we'll simplify all this. Okay, but moving on, what we'll also do, so this next spot in our answer matrix, this same row will now multiply this column, and the answer will go in the top right. And so same deal, make sure to match these elements, so the 1 times negative 3, and then plus 6 times 0. And then the last one, negative 2 times 4. So plus negative 2 times 4. Okay, so even there it got a little tight. All right, so that's how we break these down. So let's keep going, though. So the next one, so we have 2 more spaces, means this row will multiply these 2 columns also. So I'm just going to kind of underline them to show I will multiply it again. Okay, so and it follows the same pattern though at this point. So the 3 will times the 10. And then the negative 4 will times the negative 2. So plus negative 4 times negative 2. And then this 5 will multiply the 1. So plus 5 times 1. And then we'll do the same thing with this last row in the first matrix with the last column in the second matrix. Okay, so I have 3 times negative 3. And then plus negative 4 times 0. And then plus that 5 times 4. Okay, so there's all of it. Okay, and then one little check that I do before moving on. Notice when looking at these elements, so there's a lot going on, but looking at these, I'm just going to do a dot, dot, dot. Notice that these should be the same. The second one, if we're consistent with our order, so I'm just doing little dots just to show those are the same. So that means it probably is set up right. Hopefully we didn't write any of the numbers wrong. But now that it is ready to go, we will just continue through with our order of operations. So let's go ahead and do one more big one like this. I think this will be enough room. Okay, so what I'm doing is just simplifying all of these expressions. So 1 times 10 is 10, so we have 10. And then this would be minus 12, and then that would be minus 2. And then let's simplify the right one, the top right. So we have negative 3. That looks like it's plus 0. And then that looks like it'd be minus 8. And then the bottom left one, we've got 3 times 10 is 30. And then 2 negatives, so that would be plus 8. And then the next one is plus 5. And then our last one, 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Then plus 0. And last, plus 20. Okay, so it does simplify sort of nice there at the end. And then at this point, now we fully simplify. So 10 minus 12 minus 2 would end up to be negative 4. Our second element in the top right would be negative 11. And then here it looks like this would be 38 and then 43. Okay, so 43. 38 plus 5 is 43. And then our last one is positive 11. And there we go. Okay, and let me fix that. So I almost added that wrong. Let me fix that. That is 43 there. So 30 plus 8 plus 5. Okay, so there it is. So that's how we can multiply these out. So this is the way that they've been defined. So it is a little strange, but anytime there is multiplication, it is by these rules. All right, so let's take a look at number 2 here. So again, immediately get their size. So this one is 3 rows by 2 columns. This one is 2 rows by 3 columns. And actually, sorry, I did it again. Let me put that up top. So we said this one has 3 rows and 2 columns. This one has 2 rows and 3 columns. Okay, so that way we can see, oh, it should be a 2 by, or these two numbers are the same, so that's good. And then it should be, for an answer, a 3 by 3 matrix. Okay, so this answer, so I just kind of put something in a box and just say, okay, so it should be 3 by 3. Okay, so, well, like the last one, so it's a little messy at this point, but I'm going to do a super big matrix all the way to the end of the page, and it needs to be 3 by 3, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm getting all my placeholders ready. Okay, and then now I'm going to, let's use colors again. So this row right here will multiply this column, and then we'll continue with the process for the others. Okay, so 10 times 1 is 10, and this time around I'm just going to do the multiplication right away. So 10 times 1 is 10. Negative 3 times 3 would be minus 9. Okay, so there's that, and then let's do it to the second one. So 10 times 6 is 60, and then negative 3 and negative 4 would be positive 12. And then one more time. 10 times negative 2 would be negative 20. And then negative 3 times positive 5 would be negative 15. And so we'll just write this minus 15. And there we go. Okay, so this one, it saves a little space and time. However, your checking might, or at least the way that I checked the previous problem, kind of goes away because we're already simplifying. But I think this is a little faster and a little nicer. Okay, so let's now move on. This second row, now we'll multiply all three of these columns. Okay, so -2 times 1 is -2. And then 0 is awesome because all the second terms will be 0, so we'll just put plus 0. Okay, and then moving on, -2 times 6 would be -12. The second term in this is also 0. 0 times -4. And then the last one, -2 times -2 is +4. And then 0 times 5 is 0. Okay, and then one more time with all of this. I'm going to use black ink on this. So the 1 and the 4 will multiply each of those. So we have 1 times 1 is 1. We have 4 times 3 is 12. So 1 plus 12. Okay, and then now 1 times 6 is 6. And 4 times -4 will be -16. And then the last one, 1 times -2 is -2. 4 times 5 is 20, so plus 20. Okay, so there we go. And then now I can start to simplify. We've got 1 in the top left, 72. And then -35. Then -2, -12, and 4. And then the last row is 13, -10. And then that looks like it is +18. Okay, so it's a lot of arithmetic by hand here. Okay, but that is our final answer. Okay, so let's see these other ones. So we've got 2 more. Let's go ahead and take care of this all in this one video. So this time around we have letters. So we can do these by the calculator as well. Like number 1 and 2 we could, because it's all numbers. But 3 and 4 have letters in them, or variables, or even just constants as letters. So that means we would need to be able to do this by hand either way. Okay, so to start it off, though, let's go ahead and get our dimensions. So this is a 3-row matrix by 2 columns. This is a 2-row matrix by 1 column. All right, so that means, looking at these 2 numbers, that means they are equal, so we can multiply. And our answer will be a 3 by 1. Okay, just kind of as a placeholder, that 3 and that 1. Okay, so 3 by 1. And it is in this exact order, so don't switch the order on this. It is definitely 3 by 1. Okay, so to do that, let's go ahead and set it up. So this is saying 3 rows and 1 column. So I'm just going to kind of do super big, but 3 rows and 1 column. So I'm trying to make sure I don't make the same mistake I did up there and just give myself plenty of room. Okay, so I've got my 3 rows and 1 column. All right, so let's break it down. So this first row will multiply this column. And so 4 times -6. This time around, let me do the parentheses again. So 4 times -6 and then plus -7 times that 10m. So there's the first one. And then let's continue. This next row will multiply this row also, or this column also. So 2m times -6, and then plus 3 times that 10m. And then one last time, this bottom row will multiply this column, -1 times -6, and then plus -5m times +10m. And there it is. Okay, so there's the setup. And then, well, like the other problems, we just need to make sure that we simplify correctly on this. All right, so I've got negative. Let's go ahead and give ourselves those same 3 lines to really organize. I think we'll have enough room to the side still. Okay, so we've got 4 times -6 is -24. And then here, that looks like it'd be -70m. And then the second term, or the second element here, looks like that's -12m, and then plus 30m. And then the bottom element looks like it's +6. And then here we have a positive and a negative, so minus. 5 times 10 is 50. m times m would be m squared. And then now we just look at all these and simplify as much as we can. Notice the top element is as good as it gets. So those aren't like terms. So that's as good as that one gets. The middle element, they are like terms. So you would combine it like we would normally with like terms. So negative 12m plus 30m would be positive 18m. And then the bottom element, well, those are not like terms either. So we'll just make sure that we write them separate just like that. Okay, so that's how we can break it down. Okay, so all of these problems, I'm thinking pencil in the cup, the rows multiply the columns, and we just keep going and do our order of operations. All right, this last one, let's see what happens. Okay, so this time around, I want to know the dimensions. This has 2 rows, 1 column. This one has 3 rows and 2 columns. So on this problem, we have actually it's good because we won't have much work to do. These 2 numbers are not the same, so that means we cannot multiply it. Okay, so these 2 numbers, so those inner ones, not same. So that means we cannot multiply. So we might just say no solution, or we might say we just can't multiply. Okay. Even if we tried, just to show what could happen, even if we tried, say we just jump into it. Well, here I've got a row, and then that's my whole column. This negative 6 would multiply with the 4, but then that's it. There's nothing else that it would multiply with, so we don't have a correct number of matching terms to work with. Okay, so that might help too, just to try to set it up. It's gonna not work. Okay, so anyway, so that's how we can multiply them. All right, so if you want more of a challenge, here's our next video. We'll cover some different ones, but if you're feeling good, then maybe you can move just right along. But either way, so I didn't use the calculator on this. I'm going to stick to by hand based on the ones that have the variables in it. Okay, so but if you wanted to, I'm sure you could work with it. Use Desmos if you wanted to. So this one, I'm just going to put it to the side, Desmos, and you can name them just like we have in other videos, and then from there, still multiply it. Okay, so, and that would let you at least check these answers, I guess, for the numerical ones. Okay, but that's it for now. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.